students who are interested in learning about various aspects of science to this online seminar series. So as you know, we have been conducting this kind of talks by experts on various topics, right from the microscopic physics to macroscopic physics, nanophysics to cosmology, like that. Our intention is to educate in the easiest possible manner students and teachers about developments in various fields. We are not going into too much detail because we will not be having so much time. At least introduce them to development so that they can take up further studies in the fields if they are interested. And that should also help their teaching as they go along. So that is our intention. And of course, the online mode is the easiest way. Offline and in-person mode is very difficult to arrange because we are living in different places. Also, we have members all over the state, Karnataka. So they cannot come to one particular place for this kind of meeting every week. So once in a while, maybe they can come. So these are our intentions, and we have been doing this for the past 1.5 years, and we have been successful thanks to the faculty members of various colleges, universities, and research institutes who have cooperated. So we are always on the lookout for good speakers on various topics. Any topic of interest, anything related to physics or applications are welcome. And I request all the members also to make some efforts in gathering the speakers. So today we have a distinguished speaker from PS University. So he is going to tell us about radiation pollution and its impacts. A very interesting subject, and not only theoretically but from practical point of view. We should all learn about it. We are all surrounded by radiation. We don't know what are the damages we are facing. So he will definitely give us some idea about it. So before I request him to speak, he will speak for about 15 minutes, followed by some question answer sessions. And of course, as usual, your comments or questions or whatever in Kannada are also welcome, because we want to encourage free communication between the speakers and the audience. There should be no barrier. Language barrier should not come in the way of communication. So therefore, if you like to ask anything in Kannada also, knows Kannada very well, you may do so. So now, before I request him to do, I request Professor P. Nagaraju, who is our General Secretary, Secretary of KPA, Karnataka Physics Association, to introduce the speaker briefly. Over to Professor Nagaraju.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Revanasiddappa, who is Professor of Chemistry in the PES IT, that is PES Institute of Technology, Electronic City, Bangalore. He did his PhD program from Gulbarga University with the title Synthesis, Characterization and Biological Studies on Some Coordination Metal Complexes. And he completed his MSc from Gulbarga University with inorganic chemistry as special subject, and he obtained the first rank. So we have to congratulate him for getting first rank in MSc chemistry. He did his MPhil program also with the title Shift-Based Coordination Metal Complexes, and he is a life member of International Association of Engineers, life member of Indian Society for Technical Education, and associate member for Indian Council of Chemistry. And he has been honored with RULA International Research Ratna Award in the year 2019, and he has been awarded the Excellence in Research CSI College of Engineering in the year 2024. And he has obtained third prize in Abhivyakti Prakalpa project presentation national level event in the year 2024, and he has won second prize in Abhivyakti Chemistry research paper presentation national level event in the year 2023. And he has awarded the best paper poster award from 8th IAPT NSSP, that is National Student Symposium on Physics 2021 that was conducted in Indian Academy Degree College. And of course, multiple best paper awards and for posters and oral presentations in the national and international levels. And he has published more than 130 papers in the reputed journals and about 200 papers present in national and international conferences. And he has guided 4 PhD students and participated in many programs and has been funded with from several agencies. And of course, the list is goes on. And not only in the academic field, he is also in the social activities, and he is creating science awareness in rural areas, rural area students in their local language, and he is participating in global warming awareness. The list goes on. Anyway, with a brief introduction of Dr. Revanasiddappa, I request him to go for his talk on radiation pollution and its impact on living creatures in and around Bangalore. Of course, like Professor Kongli has already mentioned, it is an interesting topic,
Yeah.
and all of us should know about the radiation pollution. Please, sir, you may go ahead with your
Okay, please start.
presentation. Thank you, sir.
Okay, start your presentation.
Thank you, sir, for brief introduction. So I will begin with radiation pollution and its impacts on living creatures in and around Bangalore. So, sir, with your permission, shall I go with some philosophy and science and other things?
For 50 minutes, we are all yours. You can do. Teach us. Tell us more about it. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So, first and foremost thing, what is this radiation pollution? In what way it differs from chemical pollutants? So, in the radiation pollution, what happened? The pollutant sorry. So the radiation pollution is different from chemical pollutants. Usually what happens, chemical pollutant at least will be aware of it, either kind of odor or kind of some other things. Whereas in case of radiation pollution, it is invisible, not able to understand whether it is due to this or some other effects. So I'm going to give a brief information about EMR pollution. That is nothing but electromagnetic radiation pollution in and around. Already you and I are exposed to this kind of radiation. So now how we can avoid all these things, in what way we can take some precautionary steps. Accordingly, I am introducing briefly about electromagnetic light radiation. All of us know about electromagnetic light radiation. It is composition of both electric as well as magnetic fields. So this is called as a dual nature. Similarly, whatever we are seeing in the nature, you take any matter, there is a dual. So you take example our mind. So one is positive mind and another one is a negative mind. If the person is thinking positively, definitely is going to achieve something extraordinarily in his life. If we think negatively, again there is a problem. So here also, the electromagnetic light radiation composed of both electric as well as magnetic field. We all aware of it. So now, after knowing this electromagnetic light radiation, so this constitute from gamma rays to radio waves. So no doubt it is, I'm going to talk particular radiation. So usually what happened, later I will going to introduce the classification. One is ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiation. Instead, just I am giving brief information about the electromagnetic spectrum. It constitutes from gamma rays to radio waves. What is this spectrum? For example, here I have highlighted one of the simple is a visible part of the light radiation. A white light consists of 7 colors. How we split into a different color, it is called as electromagnetic spectrum. So later I will introduce all these things. Here, very simple, this plot is shows clearly. In the year 1945 or before 1945, the amount of EMR pollution in the atmosphere was very, very less and negligible. Already, the earth and other natural sources are contributing in EMR pollution. At the time, man-made activities, particularly the usage of mobile and internet signal and all these things enormously increases. So as increasing the research in the electronics and communication, telecommunication and internet and all other signals, the radiation pollution also increases exponentially. So this plot clearly reveals about how the increase the EMR pollution in and around Bangalore and also in the atmosphere. So, what are the types of EMI? First, electromagnetic interference. What is this electromagnetic interference? Before to start with this session, and someone is quoted, somebody is using mobile phone along with their laptop, definitely echo is there. What is this echo? Both the signals are interfering. Because of the interference of both the signal, we observed echo. Similarly, whenever we receive a call in front of our TV, when we switch it on, and we do get a kora kora sound. That kora kora sound is nothing but interference of light radiation. This is observed commonly in the electronic circuit. In the electronic circuit, we do call it as two kinds of radiation. One is intra EMI and another one is called it as inter EMI. What is this intra EMI? Intra EMI means in you take any electronic circuit and definitely there is emission of unwanted, undesirable radiation that is mixing with a main signal. Definitely not able to get the clarity in the output signal. This is what it is called intra EMI, electromagnetic interference. So the other one is called outer world. What is this outer world? We are using the electromagnetic light radiation for day-to-day life, particularly for the communication as well as internet signal, mobile, and all these things. So each and every signal is having different bandwidth. Sometimes these will mix up and are not able to get a clarity. Earlier, what we do, we are using metallic case for covering the electronic circuit. Purpose is very simple. When the unwanted or undesirable radiation is emitted from the circuit, which is grounded completely, that is what it is covered with a metallic case. Now, we started using polymeric material. Why? This polymer is having organic, and definitely where there is organic, the molecules are associated, and whenever this undesirable waves are produced from the electronic circuit, it is going to absorb and effectively shielded. This is what it is called electromagnetic interference shielding effectiveness. Now, I'm going to talk on EMR pollution. That is nothing but radiation pollution, how it affects our health. So I have taken these images from the Google, and look at this thermographic image of the arm, image of the head with no exposure to harmful cell phone radiation. So very simple. Whenever we are talking over the mobile phone, we all observe. If we talk more than 5 minutes, we observe some kind of heating effect. Why this heating effect is observed? No doubt there is emission of unwanted or harmful electromagnetic light radiation, particularly IR part of the light radiation, where the IR is nothing but heating effect. Why it is so? According to physics, when the strong intense light radiation fall on any matter, it scatters. If the lower amount of light radiation, low energy light radiation, maybe RF signal, maybe IR, or maybe microwaves, these are all low energy light radiation, longer the wavelength. When it is falling on the skin or any matter, it is going to absorb because already in the matter, molecules vibrate from the mean position. The vibration of that matter is matching with IR or the lower energy part of the light radiation, maybe RF signal, microwaves, or IR radiation leads to the absorption. During absorption of this light radiation, definitely heat energy will be generated. Once the heat energy is generated, definitely it affects our cell. So I have clearly put both the images, thermographic images, before and after exposure to this kind of harmful light radiation to our health and particularly the head skull. How mobile phone radiation penetrates the brain cells, particularly 5-year-old boy. You take in particularly in India, we are highly emotional people, and usually when the newly born baby is there, and we are taking our mobile phone near the newly born baby, we are not aware of it, how much it disturbs the brain cells. We are not aware of it. So we are taking that mobile phone and the young newly born baby not able to talk anything. In that condition, we are all emotionally bonded. Because of this, we are taking the mobile phone near the newly born baby and we ask the baby talk, that making noise, and we are also enjoying. My dear friends, only thing is, why I'm saying this, we should avoid taking mobile phone near the newly born babies or less than 4-year-old babies because skull is not developed completely. No doubt, this mobile phone radiation will penetrate more than 5 inches in the skull because skull is not completely developed. So look at the difference between 5-year-old skull and 10-year-old skull and adult. So definitely there is a variation in the penetration of mobile signal in the head skull. And at least in the adult already the skull is very well developed, even though it is penetrating more than a 2 inch or 2 inch in the brain. So this leads to may affect brain cells, leads to so many complications. I have one wonderful example in Bangalore. One of the family, usually what happened, we the not only the Indians, as a human being, we are desire to earn money. So in this condition, what happened, if suppose I have a 60-40 site in Bangalore, I am constructed multi-storied building, and on the terrace there is open terrace, and I thought of earning money using that open terrace. What happened, some people are giving rent to fix the mobile towers. What they did, they have given rent on the terrace open area. They have fixed the mobile towers. Below, so many families are residing. One, young lady was facing problem. She is nearly 35 to 40-year-old. She is having severe backache and neck region part. She is having severe ache. Why it is so? Because of that mobile tower light radiation affects the human being, those who are residing in that building. So one thing. And another thing, newly born baby behaves like a mad. Behavioral changes one can observe if you use a mobile phone continuously because anxiety levels also increases because by using this mobile phone continuously that emit harmful radiation, one or the other way, it affects our body cells. When it affects our body cells, definitely behavioral changes one can observe. The same thing we observed, one of the newly born baby behaved as a mad and died within 6 months because of this light radiation. So, one should not give a rent for any residential area to fix the mobile phone towers. Anyways, I'm going to talk all these things stepwise very clearly. So, this is what we observed in and around Bangalore. I wanted to explain briefly about all this information what are the things are associated, what kind of precautions will be taken in future. So the types of EMI already discussed. Yeah. So this is what, electromagnetic light radiation pollution, how it is there in and around Bangalore. Very simple. We're all using power lines for day-to-day life. We have to use one or the other way. The electricity, there is a power line. Definitely that also emit EMR, electromagnetic light radiation. And when you switch on motor, also certain extent, because there is a induction coil, EMF is there, all are aware of it. And while using computer also, it emit harmful radiation. And mobile phone towers at the same time, mobile phone, even television, whatever we use electronic gadget in and around day-to-day life, all these are one or the other way emitting light radiation. So these are the sources. So when it comes to the EMR, electromagnetic radiation pollution, we are classifying into two kinds. What are the sources? Pollution is one which affects our health, maybe living organisms. So one is a natural one. Natural one means cosmic rays and radon, and artificial one, nuclear plants, electronic waste, cell towers, mobile phone and internet signal and Bluetooth signal. All these are called as artificial light radiation. We are using one or the other way in day-to-day life. We cannot avoid whatever it is there in the nature, that is cosmic rays. Anyways, we have the ozone layer, it filters ultraviolet radiation, and some of the things already associated in the soil, maybe in the form of radioactive elements and radon, and also what we use in the house construction, particularly granites. Granites also associated with certain extent radioactive element that also emit light radiation, which affects our health, but not enormously. But day-to-day life, because of human desires, because of our applications, we are using all these things. It affects our health. So that is what we have been classified into natural sources as well as artificial sources. You look at this radon and remaining things in day-to-day life. We are all using the medical devices and electronic consumer devices and radionuclides and all these things, particularly in the medical application as a diagnostic tool. All these things we are using in day-to-day life. Definitely, it affects. The importance of studying radiation in urban environments like Bangalore is very much essential. So there are two types of radiation. One is called it as ionizing radiation, and another one is called it as non-ionizing radiation. What is this ionizing radiation? Ionizing radiation is nothing but X-rays and gamma rays. These are shorter the wavelength, higher intensity of the light radiation. When it falls on any matter, definitely the matter will undergo oxidation. Nothing but removal of outermost orbital electron or inner core electron. In this condition, sample can be destroyed. So it is called it as ionizing radiation. That is what in our the chemistry tool or physicist always using spectroscopic tools. There are two kinds. One is a destructive and another one is uh, constructive. What is destructive? Whenever we use X-rays, gamma rays, definitely when it is exposed with this part of the light radiation, the matter will be converted into radioisotopes, or it may be in a different form that cannot be utilized for any other purposes. Non-ionizing radiation, it will not oxidize molecule or not able to remove outermost orbital electrons. In ionizing radiation, not only X-rays, gamma rays, UV light radiation also contribute in the ionizing part. And non-ionizing radiation, there only the absorption phenomenon. Again, it is depending upon the vibration or a transition. All these things are responsible for the absorption of light radiation. So it is called it as non-ionizing radiation. Particularly, we do consider microwaves, IR, and radio waves. And there is there is a possibility to affect biological tissues. How it affects, I will discuss in the remaining slides. So, the AMR pollution, particularly the major sources in Bangalore. One of the simple one thing, recently we were using for 4G, now we shifted to 5G. Why? Because as increasing the human population, we reach each and every person. So we need to increase the bandwidth of the mobile communication. So we have shifted from 4G to earlier 2G and 3G, 4G came out, and now 5G level. We are into the 5G level, increasing the bandwidth. By increasing the bandwidth, definitely it is going to release harmful light radiation in and around Bengaluru. So the radiation from electronic waste also is there in the environment. Particularly, what are these e-waste? So we are using here and there. You people might have observed in the shops they use one bin for utilizing, particularly for mobile phone batteries and mobile phones for the recycling purposes. Even though when they collect enormous amount of all these e-waste, and that also contributing a release of EMR light radiation. And usually we are going and consulting the doctor. Doctor is also used some of the diagnostic tool like X-ray devices and some image process and CTR scan and all these things. No doubt, one or the other way, all these diagnostic devices are emitting harmful radiation. So this background radiation levels from granite also rich, particularly in Karnataka, and geologically, this background radiation is high because near Bangalore, Ramanagara, we have one, granite and other things are there. We all aware of it. Near, in and around Bangalore, all these things are there. This background radiation also contributing in terms of electromagnetic radiation pollution. At the same time, mobile towers. So it is required nowadays. Without this mobile phone towers, not able to receive any signal, not able to communicate any of the person. That is what we are all depending upon one or the other things. So all these are contributing in emission of electromagnetic light radiation as a pollutant in and around Bangalore. So so this is there. What is next step? Next step is continuously we have to monitor the light radiation in and around Bangalore. So many systems already developed to measure the light radiation. So it is already there in the form of cloud. Karnataka Solution Board and Baba Atomic Research Center already they are taking care of all these things, and continuously they measured what is the radiation pollution pollutant strength in and around Bangalore. Even I also did the research from 2020 until date, and anyways, luckily we are all safe. The radiation levels in Bangalore, it is less than the WHO limit, World Health Organization. They set the limit, that is we are under threshold level of this radiation pollutants in and around Bangalore. Certain extent we are safe, but this will also affect our health because you know because of this radiation pollution nowadays so many cancer patients are seeing in and around Bangalore. Why it is so? Scientists, and particularly the physicists, chemists, pharmacists, and biologists, are trying to understand science. What is science? Science, why the cancer patients are more. Whether it is due to lifestyle or it is due to increasing the pollutants level, maybe what we are using pesticides, insecticides at the same time, so many chemicals, we have so many industries situated, particularly the pharmaceutical companies, they also release enormous amount of pollutants at the same time. Another factor is contributing nowadays, it is called radiation. Definitely. This radiation also triggers the cancer cells. You know, everybody, all of us have cancer cells in our body. Because of that immunity level, it suppresses those cancer cells. Because of another factor, in addition to our lifestyle, stress level at workplace, and different levels, definitely with this factor may trigger the cancer cells leads to so many cancer patients. So many people are trying to understand why we observe so many cancer patients in and around Bangalore, whether it is due to light radiation or due to their lifestyle or maybe due to the food. So all these are contributing, and really the information is scarce in the literature. We are all trying to find the right kind of scientific evidence. What is science? What we understood so far, whatever it is there in the materials. So fundamental properties we are able to understand. Likewise, in our disease, we are able to understand scientific facts. Why this person is got increases cancer cell in his body, whether it is due to stress level or maybe some other fact. So where we need to understand scientifically. So many people already started research in abroad and also in India, and particularly in Bangalore. IA is also doing research related to this. I am also little bit, I'm doing, a nano level research, because we all know as a teacher, we always involve in the teaching instead of research activities here and there. Twice in a year, we do measure radiation pollution strength in and around Bangalore. So we are also doing a piece of research work on radiation pollutant measurement. So this about brief information. So how it affects our health. So there are two concepts. One is called short-term exposure and another one is a long-term exposure. So what is this short-term exposure? Short-term exposure means whenever we use a microwave oven, so maybe hardly we are going to use one 10 minutes. So that is 10-minute short duration. So that short duration also leads to a, so we can observe some burns patches on the skin or some unwanted sickness due to radiation. This is short term. One more example you can take. Particularly, we are going to the hospital. We consult the doctor. Doctor will tell us you go and take one X-ray or CTR scan. Some other scans will be there. Whenever we are exposing such type of light radiation, also affect not immediately. So certain extent it may affect. This is called as short-term exposure. What is long-term exposure? Long-term exposure means all of us already taking the connection, particularly the internet signal. Always Wi-Fi is switched on at our home, particularly in the bedroom. We are sleeping at a particular position. When we are in the particular position, maybe nearly 6 to 8 hours sleeping, and we exposed to such radiation leads to so many complications that leads to a cancer or maybe genetic mutation, so many problems, and effects on sensitive population. Particularly it affects children, and particularly the pregnant women and elderly people, aged people. So definitely it affects when we exposed to a longer period of time, particularly for this kind of light radiation. So, impact of EMR on bird population, definitely it affects. Anyways, I will talk in the next slide. So, what are the effects of EMR pollution? One is embryonic disorder. So when we expose continuously for a long time, and genetic disorders and migrational disturbances will be there. That is called anxiety level increases. That leads to a headache and some kind of unwanted sickness in the morning. And the neural disturbances, nerve collapse. So many problems will be there and decreases lifespan of human being. Here I can quote one example. I was studying from the literature. One of the Rishimuni in India, he stayed above the earth, maybe 12 feet height. So he was always there on 12 feet height, and he was doing meditation, some other things, pranayama and other things. For the day-to-day requirement, he is coming down, and he was using maybe 1 hour or 2 hours on a day and is contacting the earth. So he is always staying above 12 feet height from the earth's surface. He lived up to 300 years. I read this information from the literature. I can quote this because when we attach to this earth surface, definitely earth is also a call it as a powerhouse. And that is also emitting magnetic as well as electric components. Both are associated directly. It is associated with our body cells. Lifespan also decreases. That is what our parents, and now also as a parent to my kid, we always suggest put a bed or some mat, some other things. Don't sleep on the uh, floor directly. Why? Because there is already electric as well as magnetic field is there. It may affect your body cells. So put in between the insulation. It is nothing but mat or bed or any other thing. So certain extent we can prevent the damage of body cells. That is what we should not sleep on a floor directly. Now we all constructed our houses with a granite, and one should not sleep directly on the granite continuously more than 2 or 3 hours. Once in a while, maybe half an hour, maybe 1 hour, it won't affect. If we sleep continuously on the floor directly without using any mat, definitely it affects our health. That is what it may decreases lifespan of human being and all living organism in and around. So the impact on animals, definitely some behavioral changes one can observe in birds. So particularly the small sparrows. Earlier, when I was a small kid, I have seen many sparrows in and around. Now, the population of sparrow is reduced because of the EMF, particularly electromagnetic radiation pollutants. Because of this, so many problems. Disruption in navigation of bees. Honeybees are very much essential, and we might have read from the literature in our own granthas. As long as honeybees are there in the planet, then human being can survive. What it means scientifically, honeybees are responsible for pollination of plants. There is a grains and other things will be there because of this. So you and I can't do that pollination and other things. So as long as honeybees are there in the nature, and we are able to get so many food ingredients, that is what. So if honeybees are not in this planet, not able to survive human being in this context. Why? There is no food, not able to increase the food crop yield and other things. It is required pollination and other things. So already that is also slowly decreases honeybees population. And DNA damages in small animals exposed to high dose near industrial areas. Because of this radio frequency electromagnetic radiation, this is called as radio frequency electromagnetic radiation pollution. What are the problems? One is called as thermal effect, and another one is called as a non-thermal effect. What is this thermal effect? When the higher part of the light radiation interact with the body cells and slightly increases temperature, and that increasing the temperature, some sensitive cells may get damaged, or there is a possibility to get DNA damage. So these are all called it as testicular temperature will be increases, decrease in sperm count and also mortality, and increase in sperm DNA damages because it is very sensitive, decrease in testosterone levels, and increased number of apoptotic cells and DNA damage. All these things are considered as a thermal effect. So non-thermal effect is nothing but oxidative stress. What is this oxidative stress? Increase ROS, release of oxygen species. What is this? Sorry, reactive oxygen species. What is this reactive oxygen species? When we are consuming food, and definitely enormous amount of free radicals are generated. When we inhale oxygen, this certain extent oxygen is inhibiting free radicals are formed in the digestion of food. Because of this RF EMR pollution in and around, there is increase of reactive oxygen species in our digestion process. This leads to so many problems in our body system. That leads to decrease in TAS and antioxidant because antioxidants plays a very important role in our body. You know why? Because that is what I'm always saying. Whenever we consume food, it is going to produce free radicals. If this free radical are not able to inhibit in our digestion process, the toxins, those toxins is nothing but help to stimulate the cancer cells in the body. That is what always our doctors suggest you consume in your diet colored fruits, colored vegetables. You know why? Because colored vegetable, colored fruits having more antioxidant, it suppresses the formation of free radicals and the toxin level, and there is no complications in our health. That is what in our edible oil also we are using vitamin A, D, and other things. It is acting as an antioxidant. Otherwise, leads to so many complications. So this is comes under non-thermal effects and increase inflammatory activity and degenerative changes of semiferous tubal and reduce number of Leydig cells. So these are all called as non-thermal effect and thermal effect. So I will move to the next slide. Impact on plants and microorganisms. Recently, Sadaf Ayush et al. Have observed enhancing sustainable plant production and food security, understanding the mechanism and impacts of electromagnetic fields. This is published very recently in the year 2023. Plant Stress Journal, it is elsewhere journal. They have published this certain extent. Particular part of the electromagnetic radiation helps to increase the yield of the crop, but it is again under research level and lot more research should taken place in this direction. But the plant cells, particularly at the time of seeding, this also require the particular part of the light radiation, not all part of the light radiation. If you use a gamma or X-ray light radiation, again it is difficult and it damages chloroplast, particularly chlorophyll cells on the plant leaves, leads to so many complications are there in the plants also. And there is a disruption of soil microbial activity. This is one of the important component in the soil fertility, particularly the rhizobium bacteria, which helps to fix the nitrogen in the plant, particularly the leguminous plants. So you take example groundnuts, acacia arabica. These are all having leguminous plants. What is this leguminous plant? In the roots, there is a formation of root nodules. ನಮ್ಮ ಈಗ ಶೇಂಗಾ ಏನಾದ್ರು ನಾವು ಕಿತ್ತಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ರೂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗಂಟು ಗಂಟು ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ರೂಟ್ ನಾಡಿಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಐರನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಾಲಿಬ್ಡೆನಮ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸಾಯಿಲ್. This helping as a catalyst and rhizobium bacteria is also there. So this helps to fix the nitrogen in the root nodules and helps to increase the ammonium fertilizer. NH3 is produced. So automatically our nature is created all these things. In addition to this, and because of man-made activities, increasing the EMR pollution may be disruption of soil microbial activity. Day by day, it reduces the fertility of the soil, not able to produce enormous amount of food for the human being because population also increases. So, because of all these things, directly or indirectly, it affects uh, the plant, particularly mutation in plant DNA and reduced germination rates and growth in high radiation zones and disruption of soil microbial activity. Therefore, microwave and radio frequency pollution constitute a potential cause for the decline of animal populations and the deterioration of health and plants living near phone mass. To measure these effects, urgent specific studies are required, and people should take this area as a research, and definitely they need to identify which part of the light radiation is useful, which part of the light radiation is affecting the plant growth, disruption of soil microbial activity. All these things are required immediately. So this is what I observed in the literature, and the information is scarce in the literature because we need to do a lot more research. We need to understand how it affects scientifically our health, plants, and also microbial activity in the soil. We all watched one movie recently. The Rajinikanth was acted. That is 2.0 movie. I hope everybody is aware of it. The bird mortality near cell towers is reduces, and informal, particularly the e-waste handling in Bangalore. Still more improvement is required to handle the e-waste, particularly in Bangalore. There has been research done abroad which says there is some kind of impact on birds due to cell phone towers. The committee was already constituted by the Ministry of Environment and Forest to find out the impact of cell phones on birds, bees, and also wildlife, and particularly the human being like us also. A lot of literature review was done then, and it was found that the decline of sparrows in cities, that is due to the mobile phone towers and the emission of RF signal, RF EMR radiation in and around, and leads to decrease the sparrow population in cities. There are other reasons also, like lack of food and also increasing pesticide usage, particularly in the agricultural sector, which lead to a decline in number of sparrows. That is what we need to understand scientifically, whether it is due to cell phone towers, or whether it is due to food which we provide. So all these things are required, and in and around Bangalore, what I observed, I came to Bangalore in the year 2006. At the time, I saw sparrows near my building. Now I'm not seeing even one sparrow. That is what slowly the sparrow population also reduces. This is also alarming us. We need to take care of these mobile phone tower signals, how it affects the human being, our health. Nowadays, you people might observe in the public so many heart attack patients. This may also triggers all these things because when it is disturb our behavior, that is nothing but anxiety. When changes anxiety level, automatically BP is also increased. That leads to the affect our heart. It is related to heart issues only. So, EMR pollution, it requires regulatory measures and safety standards. World Health Organization already started and given guidelines, which level is threshold and which one is above, and which part of the light radiation is not affecting human being as well as birds and honeybees, all these things. And we need to develop some more policies, particularly on mobile phone towers and EMF radiation in regulatory authority, particularly Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, Department of Telecommunications, and radiation norms, particularly for mobile towers. So it limits 10 times stricter than the norms recommended by International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. Limit for public exposure is 0.45 watt per meter. For 900 megahertz frequency, India's limit is 4.5 watt per meter square, and little high, and we need to take care of all these things. And SAR, it is nothing but specific absorption rate for mobile handsets, and it is less than or 1.6 watt per kg, averaged over 1 gram of tissue. These things already there. We have developed all these things. We should stick to all these things. If we increases, leads to so many complications in and around Bangalore, particularly living organism and living creatures in Bangalore. So mitigation and public awareness is required. Safe disposal of e-waste is required. Already we have started, and wherever we go, in all shops, they have one separate bin to collect the e-waste, particularly the damaged handset and waste, the batteries. Already people are collecting, and this still more rigorous, and we need to take action for the disposal of e-waste properly. and need for a regular radiation audits, at least once in a month, or once in 6 months, or twice or thrice in a year. So we need to measure the radiation levels in and around Bangalore. It is required, and awareness program, particularly in the schools and communities, is required, and promoting radiation shielding in urban should be planned properly, and already we are planning, and still more it is required. Whatever we planned is not sufficient, because increasing the cancer patient as well as heart attack patients nowadays. Along with this, the species, particularly the small bird sparrow, is reduced. That is the alarming. We need to take care of all these things. So we need to create awareness in and around Bangalore, particularly schools and communities are required. So recently what we observed, certain extent we can use the conducting polymer. Conducting polymer, if we put in the atmosphere, it won't help to reduce EMR pollution. Only thing is, so this conducting polyaniline, polypyrrole or polythiophene or any other polymer in composed with metal oxides or suitable polymers, one or two, and definitely it can shield the emitted light radiation from the gadget. In this way, we can protect the emission of light radiation from the device. So, in this context, one can use conducting polymer like polyaniline or maybe polypyrrole, polythiophene, polyacetylene, some other polymers can be used, because all these are organic molecule, and there is a vibration. This vibration matches with this electromagnetic light radiation, more absorption, and absorption is dominates in the sample, leads to avoid the emission of harmful radiation through the gadget. In this way, certain extent one can use polyaniline for day-to-day application. Recommendations: establish dedicated radiation monitoring units in and around, and strengthening the e-waste management policies in and around Bangalore. And we have to limit for the installation of towers, particularly in the residential area. I have already given one example. Newly born baby, it behaves like a mad, behavioral changes we observed, and a young lady was facing severe ache in the back and also neck region. That is due to radiation tower is fixed on the residential area, which affects directly to the families, those who have resided in that building. So we have to limit for the installation of towers in the residential and ecological sensitive areas. And what are the challenges in Bangalore? Because Bangalore is continuously growing like anything, and rapid urbanization, rapid population, and deforestation leads to so many complications. Lack of public data on radiation level strength. That is what it is required audit once in a month, or twice or thrice in a year. So informal handling of electronic waste, all these are very much required, essential in day-to-day life. We should strengthen all these aspects. These are the challenges we observed in Bangalore. So what kind of precautions can be taken? Some precautionary measures for mitigating the potential safety risk of electromagnetic light radiation include minimizing the exposure time and distance to the electromagnetic radiation source. What is this distance? For example, while watching television, we should away from the TV at least 5 to 6 feet distance. If we are near the TV, and definitely there is emission of harmful radiation which affects us while watching continuously 2 or 3 hours movies or serials. So one should maintain time, and exposure time should be lesser. The overall exposure, intensity, and the nature of radiation play a role in the response of all these things. And using low power density in electromagnetic transceiver towers located near residential buildings, schools, hospitals, office buildings, and visitor sites to reduce the impact of human health, and increasing public awareness of adverse effects of long-term electromagnetic radiation risk. Particularly, we have taken connection for the internet signal, and Wi-Fi is on all the times. Definitely it affects our health. Those who are staying more than 8 hours, particularly in the night time, we should switch off all these things. Otherwise, there is a Long-term exposure leads to triggering cancer cells in our body and leads to so many complications. So recognizing that long-term risk effects depend on overall doses and length of exposure, and we should take some additional precautionary steps to minimize risk factor associated with microwave radiation. We have the passion, we are always saying, because of that is also a kind of status in the public. What? Oh, you have the microwave oven? Yeah, I have. I am using from long day. This is not required. Actually, abroad people totally banned the using the microwave oven at home. We have to remove all these things. So that is not good for the a human being, and as a safety measures, one should not expose to the microwaves near the human body. Leads to so many complications. So we have one more status using the microwave one. Oh, that status is changed. Please understand, one should not use these microwave ones. Instead, use a gas for making something, dry or what. And we have some other things also. Technology is evolved and use instead of microwave ovens. Understanding that long-term effects of electromagnetic radiation on living beings can lead to various diseases, and ensuring that workers installing microwave technology wear insulating shoes, gloves, and protective apparel to minimize exposure. My dear friends, so whatever kind of protective measures we are taking, even though one or the other way we exposed to AMR pollution, directly or indirectly, we all exposed right now where we are sitting, where we are. Because whole world is using one or the other way, internet signal, mobile signal, one or the other kind of electronic gadget, and which is already emitting harmful radiation. Certain extent, by taking this kind of precautions, one can reduce the complication near future. What is the conclusion? Radiation pollution is an invisible but serious threat. So, as I have already indicated in the beginning, chemical pollutants, at least we can see the smell, we can see the taste, and we can certain extent we can use a mask. How we use mask during our pandemic situation. Likewise, one can take precautions, but radiation pollution is an invisible but it is serious threat. It affects on humans, animals, and the environment, require more attention, need for more research and regulations and public participation. All these things are required. This is the conclusion. So uh, we have created a small little facility in PS University. We have installed recently in the Ring Road campus ACM, and XRD also installed in PS University Electronicity campus. If anybody interested to do a research in PS University, please join for fundamental research. And we have already created all these fundamental facilities like SCM, XRD, and laboratory, and well established lab, and also FTIR, UV visible spectrophotometer, and impedance analyzer, heatless source meter, all these things, humidity sensor, it is with me, and real spectrum analyzer for measuring the radiation pollution in and around Bangalore. All these things well established. I must say thanks to our management. They are so happy to create all these facilities. If anybody is interested, those who are participating now, please come and join for the research program. We have already established these fundamentals, and please join us. So thank you. Question and discussions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Revanasiddappa, for a very, very informative talk. Now, please answer any questions or comments in this particular matter, on this particular matter. So anybody who wants to ask question, please raise your hand
Yes.
and then ask
Oh,
one by one, please. One by
48.
one.
We are about 50. No?
One by one, please. Let's start with Vipran Vasan. Yeah, please unmute and ask your question. Okay. Briefly. Please ask your question briefly, and let the answer be brief also, so that we can cover more number of questions. Okay. Vasan, please ask your question. Your question, please.
Yeah.
Firstly, thank you so much for this presentation, sir. Sir, you said that conductive polymers could be used for EMI shielding, right? Like polyaniline. But my question is, couldn't you just put a metal strip over a phone or something, and due to Gauss's law, the charges would redistribute to cancel out the external electromagnetic field?
Correct. What your understanding level, whenever the electromagnetic light radiation fall on a material, three things can happen. One, reflection, and another one is absorption, and third phenomenon is transmission. So if we use a metal, usually what happened, this light radiation fall on that, it's scattered, or the electricity what it is produced, it is grounded. In that context, anyways, we are using all these devices and are touching, and it may affect our health also. In this context, by using any organic polymer, these molecules undergo vibration. It can absorb effectively the light radiation. In this context, uh, we can reduce the emission of EMR pollutants into the atmosphere. That is what most preferred one is the polymers in place of metal. Earlier we were using metals but not protected effectively. One or the other kind of cross-talking will be there. Either inter or intra will be mixing, not able to get a clarity. Now it can be shielded completely using this kind of polymer. I hope I convinced you.
Okay, we'll go to next question. Let the questions be brief and the answers also should be brief, I hope, so that we can cover more number of questions. That's the
Sure,
only.
sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, Professor Srikanta, question please. Yeah, Srikanta, Professor Srikanta. Professor Srikanta wants to ask question.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. It was a wonderful talk, actually. Thank you, Professor.
Good
Now,
afternoon.
you said, background radiation levels from granite-rich geology.
Yeah.
I wanted a little elaboration on that.
Very simple, sir. Whatever the granite is there right now, what we are using at home, one or the other kind of natural radioactive materials will be there that emit continuously the light radiation, which is invisible. In that context, it affect our health. In place of that, earlier we are using, floor should be made of only the soil and mud, along with that some calcium and other stones will be used. In that context, there is no the radioactive element in that, there is no emission of harmful radiation to the human being.
Okay, next question, Professor Rudaswamy, you want to ask question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please.
Sir, what kind of radioactive sources are present in the granite and to what extent?
Sir,
In particular,
radioactive elements, maybe radon will be there, maybe uranium will be there,
Maybe radioactive radiations, no, sir?
radioactive radiation.
Yeah.
to what extent they are present, sir, in the granite?
So that is in terms of milligram levels also it affects, sir. It is not in milligram, it is ppb level, parts per billion. And we might observe, there is a fine track is created. That fine track is created because of this radioactive element radiation.
Oh.
This already done physicists, the lot of research on this
Being going on.
radiation tracks and
That also going on. Correct. Okay.
Sir, with all with mobile phones and so many electronic devices around
Yes,
us,
sir. Yes, sir.
is it really possible to reduce this
Definitely it is
radiation
possible.
pollution?
Definitely it is possible. Only thing is, whatever we are using right now, the polymers, it should not affect to receive and to make a call. Likewise, we have to use that film and will absorb effectively where it shields. In this context, definitely we can reduce emission of harmful radiation from the gadget.
See, still most of us are keeping our mobile phones in the pockets, chest pocket.
Actually,
Which
that
is
is
the,
not advisable. And
sir?
anyways, they have taken proper steps and it shields effectively. Certain extent, that also release harmful radiation. That is what we are seeing so many complications in our health, no, sir.
So that's
So,
also not good, actually, isn't it?
not good using in the pocket, particularly chest region.
Yeah, yeah.
Let us move on to other questions, please.
It is not advisable.
Okay.
Yeah.
ಈಗ ನೀವು ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಟವರ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ.
Yes,
ನಮ್ಮ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಟಿವಿ ಟವರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಟವರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ, ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಹೇಗೆ? ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಮಾನಿಟರ್ಡ್ ದ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟಿವಿ ಟವರ್ಸ್?
Radio towers is RF signal, it won't affect much.
ಟಿವಿ ಟವರ್ಸ್,
TV towers, it affects.
because so many channels are there nowadays, TV channels. They are
Increasing the
fantastic.
TV channels, and definitely that also contributing increasing the EMR pollution in and around.
Any other questions?
ಸರ್, ಇದು ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗಾದಲ್ಲಿ
Yes, sir.
ಆ ಮನೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೊದಲು ಈಗ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೋ ಇಲ್ಲೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ಸ್ ಏನೋ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಥೋರಿಯಂ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಬಹಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಓದಿದ ಪೇಪರ್. ನೀವು
ಹೌದು sir,
ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗಾದವರೇ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ಸ್?
Correct, sir. ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕೆಸ್ಲರ್ಗರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸಾಯಿಲ್, ಕೆಸ್ಲರ್ಗರ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ we are using it for the purification of edible oil. In Kesslerger soil, there is a presence of thorium that affects health.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀರಿ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜದು.
Yes, sir.
ಕೀತ್ಲೆ ಅಂತಾನು ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀರಿ, ಅದೇನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Sir, that resistance and capacitance.
Fourth one from the top.
Kitle source meter. Kitle source meter can be used for again direct current. That is nothing but DC current. DC electrical conductivity, capacitance, all these things can be measured by using Kitle source meter, sir.
ಇವಾಗ ನಂದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇರೋದು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಟು ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಅವೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್, what can be done is some kind of a measured value for different areas. ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಈ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ, then people will become aware of this problem.
Correct.
They start thinking about it. ಸದಾಶಿವ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಮಲ್ಲೇಶ್ವರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ರಾಜಾಜಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಂತ, ರೇಡಿಯೇಷನ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ people will come to know about their area and also become a little bit concerned about their area.
Correct, sir. You know, in the research findings, what happened, sir? You know, there are two researchers. One is real researchers and simply doing research based on flexibility in the mindset. If real researcher, like serious researcher, like whatever the data is comes, if I go for publication, nobody is accepting the data because it's all these things.
Just to create greater awareness. No, we should ಆ ಏರಿಯಾಗ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಏರಿಯಾನ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ, ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ they can put their hands together and improve their area ಅಂತ ಹಾಗೆ.
Definitely it is possible, sir. We can go by customized areas.
ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್? ಇನ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅವ್ರು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದಾರ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ?
ಅದನ್ನೇನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಶಿಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಟವರ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸಿಂಗ್. Where there is a low dense area, they are fixing and shifting is happening.
ಅವ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಜನರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ವೇ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್?
Sir, just one thing. You said that the conductive polymers would absorb more, but isn't there more impedance mismatching for the polymers, so it would reflect more, which would cause more problems itself?
No, it won't affect the cell phone because it is not reflecting, it is absorbing. Absorption is more dominant than the reflection.
Sir, but it's a conductor, so its impedance is different from the impedance of free space. No, so the reflection loss should be more, right?
Why do we call it as a conductor? It is not exactly the like metals. It is a semiconducting material.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು, ನಿಮ್ದು SEM XRD ಎಲ್ಲ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಹೌ ದೇ ವರ್ಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಶೋ ದೆಮ್. SEM ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ನೋಡಿರೋದಲ್ಲ, XRD ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ SEM is a very rare thing. How it works and how there ಯಾವ ತರ ಇಮೇಜಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಅಂತ.
We will allow, sir. We will allow the students, and only thing is I need to get a permission.
ಅದೇ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬರ್ಬೋದಾ ಅಂತ. ಈಗ
Sure,
ನಮ್ಮ
sir.
ನಮ್ಮ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, KPI ಮೆಂಬರ್ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ಸಿ SEM ಹೇಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, ಆ ತರ
Yes, sir.
ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇಮೇಜಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಗೆಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್, ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಪಾಸಿಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಇದೆ.
ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ, ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಯು ಫಾರ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಇಂದ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ರಾಮನ್? ಎನಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್ ಯು ಮೇ ಆಸ್ಕ್. ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. Okay, there are no further questions. I request our Joint Secretary, Professor Rudaswamy, to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We are very much honored to have an excellent and informative online talk on radiation pollution and its impact on living creatures in and around Bangalore, delivered by Dr. Revanasiddappa, Professor of Science and Humanities, PS University, Electronic City Campus, Bangalore, on behalf of Karnataka Physics Association. We are very much thankful to you, sir, for your motivating, highly informative talk. Thank you, sir, once again. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of Karnataka Physics Association, we are thankful to Dr. M.K. Raghavendra, coordinator of Jnanadhara, for providing Zoom platform constantly to all our online talks. On behalf of Karnataka Physics Association, we are thankful to Professor S.V. Raman for providing YouTube platform with which all of us are watching all KPA talks at very time. So we are thankful to our beloved president of KPA, Professor B.A. Kagli, for organizing online talks constantly every week. We are thankful to we are very much thankful to office bearers and members of KPA and all invitees for their active participation in these online talks. Thanks to one and all. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you very much
Professor.
for giving me an opportunity to share little information on radiation pollution, especially for our Kagali sir and Nagraj sir. I know sir both. Once I invited Kagali sir as well as Nagraj sir once. I
Thank
planned
you, sir.
that,
Thank you.
this thing.
Okay, sir.
And thank you very much for providing me an opportunity to share my limited.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
ಅಲ್ಲ, we would like to visit your lab sometime. ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. Of course, with your permission and concurrence, ಯಾವ ಸೂಟಬಲ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೋ. Because KPA members, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ತರ ಹೈಟೆಕ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So we'd like to see, and then if possible, join in your efforts. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. At your convenience. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now we are closing the meeting. We shall meet next week, hopefully, for another lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much.